Messy Church, it's Hannah here. I hope you guys are well and that you've had a really good week. Welcome to our Messy Church in a Bag. It is Sunday the 27th of June, which means that we have a fun-packed day just for you, and we cannot wait to explore the story of Noah together. We have chosen the story of Noah for this month because Noah showed great listening to God, and through the story of Noah, God teaches us that we can have hope. We can have a hope in God and that He has amazing plans and promises for our future. Our plan then for today, Messy Church, is to enjoy this video now, and then you guys can come and collect your Messy Church in a Bag between 2:30 and 3 o'clock from outside Forest and Sandwich School. We will be there and you can get your bag from the team and have a look and see what is inside. In this video, we're going to be having a look at what's inside as well, so you are prepared. Please just remember, you will need pens and glue and all of the extra bits from home. Once you have collected your bag from outside Forest and Sandwich School, we are going to be having a messy Zoom at 4 o'clock. All the information is in your bag, and on our Zoom we will be having a look at what you have made or what you are in the process of making. We'll be having some worship, a little recap of our story and memory verse, and it's just a really great opportunity to come together and chat and catch up and see what you guys have been doing. So, without further ado, I am going to hand over to Reverend Alison, who is going to share the story of Noah with us today.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Messy Church in a Bag story time. It's Reverend Alison here. I hope you're all doing really well. I wondered if you've ever heard of a game called the Escape Room. Adults can go off and do this game at weekends and things, and you all turn up and you're put into a room and you've got to find your way out, following lots of clues. It can be really, really difficult, and you might end up in there with lots and lots of people. A bit of a squeeze. Can feel a bit uncomfortable. Have you ever done anything like that? Squeezed into a small space? I want you to imagine being squeezed into a small room with all of your family and maybe your cat and your dog. And then I'm going to come along and I'm going to add my 2 cats. Oh, and I'm going to stop down the road at the local farm and I'm going to bring all of the animals off the farm and I'm going to bring them into your little room too. What would you think of that? Do you think it would be fun? Oh, no, I don't think so. I think it would be a bit busy and a bit hot and probably very, very smelly. I'm going to tell you the story of Noah today. But first of all, you need to know that this happened a very, very long time ago. So I want you to stand up, stretch as big as you can, and spin round and round and round. Are you done? Excellent. You've moved all the way back in time to the story of Noah. God had made the world and it was full of people who were, to be honest, not being very nice. They were behaving quite badly to one another, saying cruel things, doing cruel things, thinking only of themselves. And God looked down and He was really sad. He was sad about how everyone was behaving. But there was one man who was behaving really well. His name was Noah. Now, Noah was a good man. He always listened to what God said and tried to live his life as best he could, caring for everything. People around him, the animals, the world he lived in. He was a good man. So God had a plan, and He spoke to Noah and told him that he wanted him to go and build an ark. An ark, a huge, big boat with lots and lots of floors and layers in it. And God told Noah exactly how big he wanted him to build it. Noah kind of scratched his head and thought, wow, that's going to take a while. And it did. It took years and years and years. And he was there, he had his bits of wood and his nails and his hammer, and he was banging away, building and building and building, all because God said he was going to bring the rains and make a flood. And then God told Noah what to do with this ark. He said, I want you to go out and to bring in animals. One of each, two of each, one man, one woman, one son, one daughter-in-law, one mummy bear, one daddy elephant, one mummy elephant. There had to be two of each kind of animal and bird and everything that walked on the earth. Noah thought, how on earth is that going to happen? But he believed, and he got his wife and his sons and his daughter-in-laws, and they all got ready in this ark, and they waited. And as they waited, they watched and they waited, and everyone around made a fool of him and said, you're crazy, man. What have you built that for? You're in the middle of dry land. That's silly. But Noah waited and hoped that he'd got it right. And then one day, as he waited and he hoped, he looked out, and all of a sudden, there before him came animals. Every kind of animal you can imagine. Gorillas, giraffes, elephants, zebras, every kind of animal coming 2 by 2, just as God had said, so that they could come onto the ark. And they did. And they climbed up and they went in 2 by 2. Now, I don't know if you've ever thought about it, but God didn't say, well, you better take a herd of something. Because if you take all these cheetahs and lions and tigers, you better be careful if you're taking some monkeys, because they might eat them, so you might need to take more. God didn't say any of that. There was going to be nobody chopping their chomps and eating anything in the ark. But Noah just had to trust, and all the animals went in 2 by 2 by 2. Eventually, the whole ark was full of animals, all making noises and finding themselves a comfortable bed to sit in. And Noah waited and waited. And nothing happened. Nothing happened for a day. Nothing happened for another day. And then, after a week, all of a sudden, there was a big splat of rain. Can you make a noise of rain? Have you got a table nearby? Maybe you can do rain noises. And they're falling. The rain is falling. Great big drops of rain. And luckily, everything, all of the animals were inside the ark, safe and sound. Noah and all his family looked at the rain and they thought, wow, it's going to get so wet round here. The puddles are going to be huge. And it rained. And it rained and it rained, and the water even came up from the ground, from all the wells and the seas. Everything just swelled and swelled and swelled until the ark was floating on nothing but water, water everywhere. It rained, raining again, for 150 days. 150 days. That's about how long it takes to get from New Year's Day to June the 7th. That's all the way through the winter, the spring, and the beginning of the summer. It rained for that long. And then the rain eased. And Noah was still on his ark with all of his animals safe inside. The doors were shut and everything was safe and secure. Batten down the hatches. Nothing was going to go wrong. So they floated on the water and they waited and they waited and they waited. And the animals wandered around, stretched their legs, looked out through the windows and thought all they could see was water. But they waited and they waited and they waited because Noah was a really patient man and he hoped in God that everything would be okay. Then he thought he would see how things were going. And he sent out a raven. But the raven never came back. So he waited and he waited and he waited. And then Noah thought it would be a good idea to send out a dove to fly and see what he could find. So the dove flew away from the ark. And Noah waited patiently, hoping in the promise that God had given him. Then, all of a sudden, there was a flapping of wings and the dove came back and landed on the top of the ark, and in its beak was an olive branch, part of a tree. Noah thought, wow, that's great. That means that the water is dropping and the trees are up the top. I don't know about you, but I think if I'd have found that, I'd have rushed. I'd have thought, right, let's get all these animals out of here. I can't bear the smell anymore. Let's go now. Let's open the doors and... because it would have been a bit wet and soggy. Noah was much more patient than me. He waited until God told him that the time was right. And God did say, go now and let all the animals out of the ark. They say never work with children and animals. So, because it wouldn't have been easy, these were great big doors and his sons would have pushed and pushed and pushed and they'd have got the doors open and they would have got ready for all the animals to come out of the ark. And out they came, still two of every kind. A boy and a girl of every kind of animal there was. And they went off and found a new way of living. But as they came out of the ark, there was something really, really special. As Noah looked up to the sky, he saw something he had never seen before. He saw something nobody had ever seen before. He saw a rainbow in the sky with all the beautiful colours of the rainbow. Do you know how you get a rainbow? A rainbow happens when rain has been and light hits the raindrops. So when you see that rainbow, it's to remind you that God has looked down and he's seen the world is sometimes a bit of a messy place. It sometimes disappoints him. But he made the promise of the rainbow to say that he would never send another flood. And that whenever we look up to the sky and see the rainbow, we remember the light and the promise that God made to Noah that day. And that light and that promise that he would never leave us and he would always care for us and look after us. So Noah, a good man, and his wife and his children and all the animals were sent out to make the world a better place. Just like you and I are sent out to make the world a better place every day, to live kindness, to be good with one another. And just like we're all friends at Messy Church, we're asked to be friends with everybody we meet. And we know that the promise God made Noah, he made to you and to me for every day of our lives. Bye for now. Enjoy your messy activities.
Thank you for sharing that story with us today, Reverend Alison. Isn't it fantastic, Messy Church, that through the story of Noah, God shows hope. God shows that with him there is hope. And Noah did an amazing thing. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being told to build such a huge ark, a huge boat in the middle of the desert? How would you have felt? I think I would probably have thought, oh gosh, everyone's going to laugh at me and it's not going to end well. But Noah trusted in God and God kept his promises, didn't he? And he still keeps his promises today. We have a hope in God, and our memory verse today is linked to hope. So I'm going to hand over to Josh for our memory verse, and your challenge, Messy Church, is to remember this memory verse for our Messy Zoom later.
Hi friends! Today's memory verse is from Romans chapter 12 verse 12, and it says, be happy because of the hope you have in God. God bless, take care, bye!
Amazing, Josh, thank you. Be happy because of the hope you have in God. I am so thankful that we have hope in God and that no matter what, God is always with us, and we know that we are never alone. Just like Noah knew that when he was creating the ark and when he was in the ark for all that time, he knew that he wasn't alone. He had a hope in God and that God kept and keeps his promises. We are going to take a look now, let me just grab it, at what is in your messy bag. So, when you have collected your bag, you can start the activities straight away. And if you would like to bring any of the activities to our Zoom, you can carry on as we meet. So, inside your messy bag, you will find a pack of paper, and here is our welcome sheet with all of our activities written down there and the information on how to join our Zoom. So please do have a read of that. And when you have had a look at that and know what's happening, you will find some activity pages here all about Noah and God's promise. So have a look at those as well, and you can enjoy colouring those in as a reminder of the story of Noah. In that pack, you will also find an animal mask like this with the eyes nicely ready for you to see through. We have a few different ones. There's a zebra, a giraffe, an elephant and a lion. So you'll have to see which one you get. You can create your animal mask with pens or whatever you want to use. And then you'll also find a large lollipop stick like this. And when you've done, you can attach your lollipop stick to the back of your mask like this. And then that will act as a really great handle for you to use. And if you wanted to, you could watch the story again and use your mask to act it out. In your bag, you will find everything you need to create a rainbow biscuit. So we have a biscuit, we have some icing, we have a rainbow sweet here, and some mini marshmallows for clouds. So what you need to do is spread on the icing, attach the rainbow, and add the clouds. And this is a great reminder, isn't it, of God's promise and how in the story, He sent a rainbow in the sky for Noah to see, and He promised never to flood the earth again. We also have a free from option available, so if you are free from, please do let us know when you come to collect your bag. In your bag, you will find a brown envelope containing cress seeds because we are going to be doing some planting. So please open carefully and you will find all your cress seeds inside with some kitchen roll as well. And what you will need to do is wet the kitchen roll and then sprinkle your seeds on top, and they should grow really, really quickly. You could create some shapes with your cress or write something with your cress. You can decide. Fantastic, we cannot wait to see how your cress turns out. As you are planting your cress, have a think about the story and remember that when the rain had stopped, Noah sent out a dove, and eventually the dove came back with something green in its beak. And when it came back, Noah knew, didn't he, that there was dry land and that the water was going down. So that is your reminder. As you watch the greenery grow, you can remember the dove and the leaf that it brought back and the hope that we have in God. In your bag, you will also find everything you need to create a paper plate arc. Now this is a very clever activity because it involves 2 paper plates and a split pin. So here are some pictures and a video of what it could look like. Fantastic! I cannot wait to see your completed arc creations, and I love the way it turns to the stormy sky and then to the rainbow sky. That is a great reminder, isn't it, that God keeps His promises. Our memory verse is on a rainbow today. So in your bags you will find an envelope with everything you need to create your rainbow memory verse. So here is a video of what to do. our activities today about Noah and God's promise and the hope that we have in God. We would love to see your creations, so please do take a picture and post onto our Messy Church Facebook group. Next week, we will be creating a Messy Gallery video with all of your photographs all together, and that will be going on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. It's a really great reminder of what we've been doing and a great memory as well for us to look back on. We cannot wait to see what you guys create today, and we really look forward to seeing you later. So, just before we go, let's pray together. God, we thank you for the story of Noah. We thank you that it shows us that you keep your promises and that there is such hope for our future. We thank you for Noah's bravery and his trust in you, and we pray that you would help us to know your love and to know the love of Jesus, to open our hearts and invite Jesus in. Amen. Shall we do our Messy Church Amen? Ready? Amen. We cannot wait to see you later this afternoon, Messy Church. We will be outside Forest and Sandridge School between 2:30 and 3 o'clock for you to come and collect your bag. And we will be exploring the story of Noah a little bit more during our Zoom at 4 o'clock. So please do come and collect your bag and then join us for a Zoom. And we will also be worshipping God together in that too. Have a really great rest of the morning. Enjoy getting excited for our Messy Church in a Bag today. And we can't wait to see you later. Bye.